Hi, everybody. Simon and Jordan here. We've got Francesco Rosi from Tolaini, winemaker, joining us today. We're going to talk about the Legit. So, first of all, welcome, Francesco. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Francesco.
Thank you for inviting me.
Not at all.
Good evening to everybody, because here is 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we're recording this on Monday. It's 9 o'clock locally in Vancouver, so it's dinner time over in Tuscany. So we don't want to keep Francesco too long. So maybe we can start off with a little bit background about yourself. Let me know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, wineries you've worked at, etc.
Yeah, I was born in Florence. I am, almost 40 right now. And I started to move my first steps in winemaking in 2002. Yeah. I've always worked in Tuscany for several wineries, and one of them is Friscobaldi, a big winery here in Tuscany. Yeah. And I started to work for Tolaini in 2011. So this is my 10th vintage here. For me, is also the occasion to thank Pierluigi Tolaini for hiring me, and I would like to remember him because, as you know, he passed away last April. But he could see the great results of the Legit in last November, when when Legit was rated in the top 100 wines of Wine Spectator. So I want to thank him, and I want to say him, if he can hear me, that his dream is almost realized, because his dream was to make the best wine in Italy. We have not done yet, but we are on the good path,
Yeah. Start with so like, we noticed a bit about the Tolaini labels, and most of them are pretty, you'd expect from a Tuscan label. You've got your Cab Blend, you've got Sangiovese, you've got all these things. But this one here, the Legit, very different than anything else in your portfolio. I'm kind of wondering if you could speak a little bit about to the wine and the whole concept behind this one.
Yeah, it's very different, not only the label, but also the wine, because this is 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, unblended. And when I arrived in 2011 and had a look on the winery and on the vineyards, I see immediately that we had 30% of Cabernet Sauvignon inside the winery. So this is not so common for a Tuscan winery, especially in this area, because Cabernet Sauvignon is really, really difficult to grow here in this area of Tuscany, because it's hot and the soil is not so easy to produce a Cabernet Sauvignon. In fact, not a lot of people believe in that project, because everybody said that we were crazy to do something like that. But in 2013, we realized that the potential of the Cabernet Sauvignon from that vineyard, that has the peculiarity that the plantation is very intensive. So we have 11,800 plants every hectare. That means that every square meter we can find 4 plants. So it means competition, it means structure, it means more tannin than the other wines. And we saw in 2013 that was the perfect harvest, the perfect vintage for trying to make an unblended Cabernet Sauvignon. And we decided to make a different winemaking, a different aging, and to keep separate from the other batches of Cabernet Sauvignon. When Lia Tolaini, that is the daughter of Luigi, came in early 2015 to taste the wines in the barrel before the blending, we taste together with another man from USA, a friend of her, and she was very impressed about the quality and the potential of the wine in barrel. And so we decided to bottle by himself. And then the question was, what could be the name of this wine? And the other guy that was with us in tasting said to us, oh guys, this is a legit Cabernet Sauvignon. So the name was found. The history of the label is different because you know, when you find a name for a wine, you have to find you know, also a label. And Leah, that is a very jazz fan, she would like to make a connection between wine and music, and she thought that the only man, the only musician that could do Legit things was you know, Thelonious Monk. And so she decided to connect Legit with the face of Thelonious Monk and the, you know, philosophy of Thelonious Monk. So the history was that she asked for the permission with the family of Thelonious Monk for print the label with this face. That, by the way, is a cover of a record that Thelonious Monk played in Milan in 1963. Oh, wow. And you know, the family agreed immediately and started a partnership, but also a friendship. And we just, you know, we just made also the 2016 Legit. So the project is still going on. Was you know, something special in 2013. Now is, you know, became a wine in our portfolio. We don't produce this wine every year because you know, it's a single vineyard, Cabernet Sauvignon, and only when the condition and the quality is very high, we can do that. But you know, we try to do our best.
Well, you kind of touched on it earlier. Why do you think you see so few straight varietal Cabernets coming out of Tuscany? Because I mean, in California, certainly they're not shy about doing straight varietal Cab, or maybe other regions like Australia. And you guys in Tuscany, you grow a lot of Cabernet. Maybe not quite as famous as the Merlot you grow there, but certainly. But yeah, like, why do you think there's so few straight varietal Cabernets?
Yeah, here is not, you know, we have not the climate and we are not the soil of California, of course. In Tuscany, you can find really good Cabernet Sauvignon, but on the coast, you know, I mean, Bolgheri Sassicaia, for example, has a completely different climate, has a different soil because we are on the clay, we have sand, and of course, here in this area, in Castelnuovo Belardenga, you know, the temperatures are always higher than on the coast because we have not the influence of the sea. But the particular condition of the soil and the density of this vineyard in some vintages can show really good results.
Yeah, I've tried this multiple times. I don't know, Jordan, if you've got a chance to try it as yet, but it is a very dark and very powerful Cabernet. Like, this is one, despite being a 2013, and when I put out the invitation for everyone to taste this tomorrow, I told them to decant this for at least 2 hours, and maybe even longer than that, because it is a rugged beast. How long do you think this can last?
Forever, maybe not, but I think you can taste it in 20 years, and I'm sure it shows better and better.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, at 7 years old, it's already, like I say, it's pretty tight. I often tell people we didn't get a lot in the BC market, unfortunately, but this is one I scooped up a few bottles for myself because I knew full well this is a wine I personally think, I tell people, don't even think about drinking this for at least another 5 years. But
No
I
problem.
think the window really doesn't start for another probably almost 10. Like, I think it's got a long way to go on this thing.
Yeah, my advice is buy 2 cases, drink 1 case now, and save 1 cases for the next 6 months. But not good to far.
You're sure you're not you're not the sales director instead of the winemaker? I don't know.
I've tasted this wine many times, also in barrique and in the first months of aging in bottle. Believe me, when we bottled this wine, was really, really hard to taste because the quantity of the tannins was very impressive. It doesn't mean that this wine had bad tannins. This wine had a lot of tannins, a lot of structure that only the very, very good wines that are really, really good for aging has. So we saw the power. We didn't want to, to show immediately the wine. We wanted to wait 2 years more, 3 years more, no problem. But our philosophy is we want to show the wine when is ready to be appreciated.
Right.
Yeah, you guys sat on it for a long time. I mean, a 2013 release is that is it was mostly bottle aging, I guess, that happened. Can I ask, is this all done in barrique?
Yes, this is all done in barrique for 24 months, and 70% of the barrels were new and 30% second passage. And then
that is
we bought it at the end of 2015, and we released last year. So 4 years in bottle, and every 6 months we taste it, and we postpone the the exit of the label because we would like to wait the perfect time.
Right.
Maybe there's not a lot of wineries that would wait that long. I mean, it just return on investment. Never mind.
You need a lot of room in your winery in order to save so many bottles for so many times. But we are lucky to have it, and not so many people do that. But I think if you wanna reach this kind of results, you have to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I appreciate when wineries wait, especially for the North American market, because I feel like our market is probably the least patient. Most of the wine I sell, I mean, generally people are going to consume it. Long-term cellaring for a lot of my clients is end of the week. That, and sometimes you get these wines where, I mean, there's still the collector obviously is going to buy stuff like the Grand Cru Classé Bordeaux and Sassicailles of the world, where they know, okay, well, you're not going to touch it for 10, 15 years. But those people I feel like these people are becoming less and less. It's more people want instant gratification. So they want to okay, well, I want to buy it and I want to drink it. So it's sort of like that.
Yeah.
This one, you can, but you should be a little patient, I think that's a good philosophy.
You have to work in a different way if you want to do like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not our philosophy.
No, I would agree. Other thing I was moving on. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is the first time Tolaini has been on the Wine Spectator Top 100, correct?
Yeah. First time.
Okay, so I guess this is a good question to ask. What does being on the Wine Spectator 100 do for a winery, do you think?
It's a big step forward because, it's strange because everybody told me before that being in that list could be, impressive in terms of sales. Yeah. But honestly, I didn't believe it. But trust me, the rating came out at 11 o'clock in Italy, and it was 11 o'clock in the US, 5 o'clock in the evening in Italy. From 5 o'clock to midnight, the phone started to become hot because everybody started to go for having for having a bottle of that. So it's incredible how this rating can move a high quantity of wine.
Right. Do you think that it's more important or less important for an old world winery to be in the Spectator 100?
If you are imported in the US, is really important. Not, it doesn't matter if you are on the old world or new world, but of course, US is a big market that take care about that list, and not only the US, because also other markets take care about it, but US is, immediately in 1 week you have placed all the wine in the US. After 2-3 weeks, all the other markets start to realize that you are in that list, and they want the wine. But I think the most important thing is to be represented in the North America market.
Right.
Did they give you a kind of heads up? Did Wine Spectator say, like, just you might want to be paying attention tonight around dinner time or something like that? Or was it just completely out of the blue, a surprise?
I didn't catch what you said.
Was it a surprise that you landed on the list, or was it? Did they give you a heads up that you might be placing?
We was a big surprise, because nobody could imagine that we would in that list, and was everybody was so excited. I remember that Mr. Tolaini called us and said, "Guys, you made the miracle."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, very cool. If I might ask, Francesco, rumor has it that when Ornellaia created Maceto, their North Star was Petrus. That they were trying to make a Merlot that would rival Petrus. Was there an inspiration? Was there a North Star for Legit? Was there a Cabernet that you looked at and thought, I would love it if we could make something like that? Or was it just, let's see what the vineyard does?
Yeah, Ornellaia is a masterpiece in Tuscany and also in Italy. I think Maceto is one of the best wine in the world. So everybody, try to take inspiration from Maceto and try to make. I don't want to see better than Maceto, but you want to get closer and closer every vintage. So yes, we take care about all the details in the vineyard and in the winery in order to extract from the grapes only the best and leave in the berries what we don't know, in order to have wines really good. No matter the price of the wine, we pay attention on all the berries of the state. So, of course, the best wineries are an inspiration for us, but we want to follow our road and try to do every vintage better and better.
You had mentioned that the high density of the vineyard for Legit. Are you also doing a large green harvest? Are you dropping a lot of fruit as well, or do you not have to because the density is so great?
Yeah, we did in the past because when the vines were young, so I mean till 2011, 2012, we did a lot of green harvest because the vigor was too much. We moved to organic farming from 2013. That was is only connection. Is not the wine is not good because it was the first year of organic farming. But during the next few years, we discovered that the plants found their balance. And so right now we don't need to do green harvest. So
you don't need to.
Really, no,
wow.
We don't need to.
Oh, cool.
Yes, doing the organic farming, you don't, it's not it's not only a thing of spraying copper and sulfur and not chemical products, but is also, a different way of growing the vines, because you start to, you start from the soils, you start to rebuild the structure of the soils, because when you do conventional farming, you make your soil poor year after year. And starting organic farming and started to think different in your winemaking and growing, you rebuild the life in the soil. So right now we dig the soil and we found worms and we found life, and the plant lives better and gives us better grapes in order to do better wines.
I was going to kind of backtrack a bit, and you were talking about how the Spectator list really does a lot for the American market and other markets. I'm curious, what do people locally think? I imagine is USA your #1 export market?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do people locally, like, what does being on the Spectator list mean to like amongst locals? Like if you're in Italy, for example, or in Rome or in Tuscany or wherever, what does that resonate at all? Or is that something that most people don't care about? Or
about, I didn't catch what you said. I have a problem with the...
In terms of being on the Wine Spectator list, you kind of mentioned that it was very important for the North American and particularly the American market, which is your largest export market. But does that really register or resonate, do much for you locally, whether it be in Italy or in Europe in general?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. No, it's, being on that list is important also for other markets. And, having, an American owner is also different. I am 40 right now. I started working here when I was 29. So when I started work here, we were 4 guys and I was the older to manage the winery. So have a owner that think different of all the other owners in Italy is really, really good for everybody, because if the owner was Italian, or he never hired the 4 guys under 30 to run his winery, and consider that he didn't live here, he lived in Canada, and so we saw him only 2 or 3 times every year, and so he trusts completely in us. And this is a thing that not everybody do. What people think when Mr. Tolaini arrived here in 1998, all the locals start to think about him. He was the crazy American that came to Italy to follow, a dream. Year after year, they start to know him and start to understand his project, start to understand that his dream was not only a dream, but was something that could be realized. And I think that last November we made a big step forward in that.
That's interesting, because my next question I was kind of going to go with a little bit, and I was wondering if, because Pierluigi, I mean, like, as I've read and I understand, he left Italy when he was a young man, made it to Canada and did very well, and particularly in Winnipeg. That's where he set up his home in Winnipeg, and made a lot of that very successful, and then started the winery about 20 years ago. If people locally took him as seriously as another winery from someone else who's more local or something like that.
Yeah, as I said before, people, start to think about him as the crazy guy of America that drove the Ferrari in the white roads of Canada. But, he was a really, really strong man with a strong character, but he was true. He was, he had a lot of things to teach to everybody. And we learn a lot about him. And we can only thank him for that.
Have you been to Winnipeg, Francesco?
No,
Oh,
never.
it's the Tuscany. You'd love it. It's the Tuscany of Canada.
I
Said no one ever. It gets pretty darn cold.
Something about that.
If you've ever seen the movie Fargo, it's kind of that's what it is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe next year.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm 43 years old. I've only been to Winnipeg once, and I just drove through. We didn't even stop, and I don't feel like I missed that much. Apologies to anyone from Winnipeg that might be watching this.
Actually, Winnipeg is a lovely city, but it has 2 seasons: snow and mosquitoes.
Also true.
Yeah, of course. Maybe Tuscany is a little bit better.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little hotter, that's for sure, in the summer.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions, Jordan? I'm covered all the way, I think.
Just one. We had a few years ago, we had Leah come and do a seminar with clients, and she was amazing. And she did mention that initially, anyway, Michel Roland was a consultant in the first days of the winery. Is Michel Roland still involved with the winemaking as a consultant?
No.
Okay.
He left in 2017. We made the change because Michel Roland has a great taste, a great palate, and a great nose, and he knows very, very well the wines. And of course, when we made the Legit, he was still in charge. So it's not only our proud, but I think it's also his proud. But we realized that we need something more. And something more doesn't mean that we need something better than Michel Roland. We only need somebody that could follow us a little bit, better because lives here, knows the Tuscany wines, knows the soils, knows the Sangiovese, of course. And we decided to switch with Luca da Toma. That is another big name, but he lived in Tuscany. He was born in Tuscany, and he's working in Tuscany since 30 years. So he knows very well all the terroir and all the variety that you can grow in Tuscany. And the most important things is that he lives, half an hour far from here. And so we can call him, we can go to him for tasting. He can come here whenever we want. So there is another kind of collaboration, another kind of partnership. And we can, take care about all the details better because we have somebody that will follow us better.